And welcome back to the Mississippi Association of Coaches Convention. I'm here with head coach Tyrone Shorter of Louisville High School. And coach, 7 state championships. You've been to a couple of these before. You've had a lot of success in the high school ranks. Tell me a little bit what it means to you personally to come to a convention like this every year.
Man, I've been coming for years now. I started coaching in '98, and we've been coming to these coaches, these clinics and stuff. I love them. They do a great job of hosting us every year. It's kind of like a vacation, and you come in and you get a lot of work, listen to some great speakers, and it's a place that you can bring your family, and we kind of like use it as a vacation right before you get back into football.
7 state championships. You've had a lot of success both at Noxubee County and at Louisville. Obviously, the players are a huge component of that. But what leads into winning a state championship? And what would you tell a younger coach? Hey, coach, you win 7. How can I just win one of them? What are some things you can kind of pour into young people?
Well, I always talk to the younger coaches all the time. I guess when I first started, I was the young coach. Now I'm kind of the older coach with 28 years now. And I always tell coaches, just be who you are. Just believe in your philosophy, believe in what you do. That's the most important thing. I try to tell the coaches, don't try to do too much. Love the kids, because if it starts with them, you got to show kids that you love them, you care about them, and they'll play hard for you. And that's kind of some of the advice that I give the younger coaches. A lot of these young coaches now, they be wanting to become, head coaches, coordinators and stuff before their time. But I tell them all the time, just try to learn as much as you can, and then when you get the opportunity, you're going to take off with it.
You've been to a lot of these conventions every single year. You talked about it's kind of like a mini vacation, almost the unofficial kickoff of high school football season. What are some things that you've learned along the way that you've kind of stuck with you, and you kind of thought about maybe on game day about some things you may have learned at a clinic like this?
Yeah, it's always good to continue to learn. No matter how long you've been in this profession, you learn something from. You're always a student. I always when I go to hear different speakers and stuff, I write down things that I think that can help my program and help our kids. And I always learn. This a fraternity. You learn things from a lot of different coaches. Coaches come to me all the time and ask me, Coach, how you run your program? How you do this? When you do this? And we kind of like talk about a lot of different things. Like, you kind of talk. I like to come and listen to a lot of the college coaches and see what they're implementing in their program, what they're doing, and then try to bring that same thing to our program there in Louisville. It's always, every year that I've been coming here, and it's been, over 20-some years, you learn something to take back. And that's the reason why I love coming. I don't miss it. I get a chance, an opportunity to speak. This is the first time that I haven't spoke down here in about 4 years. So, but it's great. You learn a lot of stuff from a lot of different people.
One of those college coaches is Ole Miss head coach Pete Golding, and he received a commitment from one of your players, Mitchell Turner, one of the best players in the state of Mississippi. Talk just a little bit, Coach, if you will, about Mitchell Turner, about him as a player, but also as a person, and in choosing Ole Miss and playing for Pete Golding.
Yeah, man. Look, I'm glad the kid stayed in Mississippi. To be honest, Ole Miss is right down the road. You always can go watch him play. But Mitchell Turner's he's a great kid. I tell the story all the time, and I keep reminding him when he was 9th grade that he was thinking about just focusing on baseball instead of football. And I told him, and I set him down. I told him, just don't put all your eggs in one basket. And football turning out to be really good for him. He's a better person than he is a football player. He's a great kid, come from a really good family. His dad was my principal. Now he's the superintendent in Cosesco. Mr. Turner, he's one of those kids that's going to do great in college. He's a great student. I'm happy for him. His recruiting process was long, and he was, he had to make a tough decision. And going to Ole Miss, a great program here in Mississippi, I love it.
You know, the two other great programs in Mississippi, one being Mississippi State, the other being Southern Miss. You've had the opportunity to coach a lot of good players that have played in all types of programs in Mississippi. One of those, Jeffrey Simmons, and he is an incredible player that played at Mississippi State. I know there's been a lot of players that have played for you that have went on to play at MSU and Southern Miss, and I know that's exciting for you.
It is. You know, I don't tell our kids where to go. You know, I try to, you know, we try to prepare them for this opportunity, and where they go to school is their choice, is they, you know, their family choice. I'm just happy they're going to school, and I tell them all the time, use football, don't let football use you. When you get the opportunity, make sure that you get your education first. You know, if it meant for you play in the NFL, it's gonna happen. You know, but you know, I'm happy for all of our kids, and that's one of the reasons why I still do it, because just to try to motivate and prepare these kids to go to college and for them to have the opportunity to be able to go to a Mississippi State or go to an Ole Miss or go to an Alabama or anywhere. You know, but you know, we don't try to tell our kids where to go to school. We just try to prepare them when they have the opportunity to make the best decision. And because you got to live there, you got to go to school there 4 years, 5 years there. So when you make that decision, make sure it's the one that you want to make. And you know, I love both schools. You know, I love both schools. I got my master's from Mississippi State, so you know, I don't care where they go to school. As long as they go to school, I'm happy for them.
You know, 7 state championships, that's just an incredible number, not to mention the number of coaches of the year. And if I know you well enough, Coach, you don't really think a lot about that. But I would like to ask, although those honors are incredible, what's it feel like when you see someone like a Jeffrey Simmons get a player of the year and make a big tackle, play in big games in the NFL? That has to be rewarding for you.
It is. You know, I've been watching that kid ever since he was 5th grade. And just to see him, you know, on that stage and playing, you know, the game that he loved. You know, I can still remember him doing the same thing he doing in the NFL he did in high school, did in college. You know, just to see that. You know, and Jeffrey called me on Father's Day, and you know, we talked for a little while. He, you know, told me, you know, Coach, Happy Father's Day, and you know, he never forget about me. You know, I get a chance. Me and my wife, we get a chance to go watch him play. You know, at least twice a year, because I'm so busy doing football, and you know, I like to get up there a little bit more, but you know, we try to get up there once or twice a year to watch him play, and every time he come home, he always stop by to see me or call me when he in the area. It's just great to, you know, to see a kid where they come from, where his family come from, and now the things that he's doing, not just for his family, but also doing for the community. All the things that he doing to give back, and some of the things that we kind of talked about when he was in high school, and some of the things that he wanted to do, you know, if he get the opportunity, and just to see him living that dream and coming back, doing everything that he talked about doing in the community, and because Jeff has a big heart, you know what I'm saying? He'll help anybody, and that's the reason why he's getting rewarded the way he is today. You know, God have favors for him because, you know, God just blesses, you know, good people like him.
He's Coach Tyrone Shorter, one of the best in the state of Mississippi, a 7-time state champion, numerous coaches of the year, but he always talks about his players, and that's what we love to see here at the Mississippi Association of Coaches in the convention here every single year. Coach, thanks for joining us. We appreciate it.